Welcome home to USA Global TV and Radio, a place where dreams take flight, with authentic storytelling, diverse perspectives and meaningful conversations, where global stories unite and bridges are built beyond all borders. Discover world-class education, entertainment, hope and inspiration. Together, we're building bridges worldwide. Subscribe to our channel, USA Global TV. Download our app, USA Global TV. Be our guest or join our team. Visit usaglobaltv.com. Thanks to our founder and executive producer, Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck. Music score by Yeffy Tang from Cloud Road Music. Voiceover artist Mike Porter. Creative direction by Paul Garcia. USA Global TV and Radio, your home for global connection. All rights reserved. This video and its contents are the exclusive property of USA Global TV and Radio. Unauthorized use, duplication or redistribution in any form is strictly prohibited.
Get ready for Talking Heads, the show where expert insights meet world-class education, entertainment, hope, and inspiration. Brought to you by USA Global TV and Radio. Meet our distinguished presenters. From the great state of Texas, longevity expert, award-winning author, publisher, and distinguished Toastmaster, red.olaughlin. From London, England, soul heart awakener, novelist, vocal coach, and artist, Dr. Madeline Chan. Also from England, the Harley Street stress expert, therapist, ambassador for peace, and speaker, Carolyn Heward. And from Australia, ICF PCC credentialed coach, entrepreneur, and leadership coach, Mariska Dupria. Experience their expertise, connect with their wisdom, and transform your perspective. Watch Talking Heads on the USA Global TV and Radio Network. This video and its contents are the property of USA Global TV and Radio. All rights reserved. Terms and conditions apply. Visit usaglobaltv.com for more details.
Hi, red.olaughlin here. This is our Talking Heads program on the USA Global TV and Radio Network. And today, my topic is on, are you in control? I see a lot of people as they age, all of a sudden they can't walk the way they used to. They can't get out of the car as quickly as they could. Just little things in life slow down. And are they slowing down because they don't have the strength or the balance or other things? Lots of interactions. Doesn't matter. Okay, well, we end up having a minor problem there I'm going to have to fix. Are you really in control? This is live streamed on Amazon Fire, Zizzle TV, E360 TV, YouTube, Android, Apple TV, and many, many others. I have a minor. Let me take a very brief, and I mean very brief, moment here. Okay, that's back, and that should be good. Okay, thank you very, very much. Our programs are primarily for awareness and education. Let's move on to the next slide here. My books and my information that I put out on a regular basis can be found on my website, red.olaughlin.com. It's red.olaughlin.com. And we're going to be talking about a couple of these books today. All the shows that are done on USA Global TV can be found in a number of places, but the primary place is on YouTube. Go to USA Global TV and Radio. You can see the live shows, you can see the archives, and I've been archiving the shows on my website, red.olaughlin.com. I'm a researcher. I've never been in the medical field or the pharmaceutical field. My first degree was in chemistry. I have 5 total degrees, all in different subjects, a whole bunch of professional certifications. I put 31 years in the Navy. I was fortunate enough to go to over 60 countries. Now retired as a Navy captain and also naval flight officer. I flew for 16 years. I am really fascinated by cause and effect relationships. That started when I worked for Halliburton, and I was involved in a lot of why did this fail? And so you do a deep dive into what could have happened, and then what did you actually find out, and you treat the cause of the problem, and then hopefully that fixed the problem and it never occurs again. And we had some really good successful stories in that. Marilyn and I have been married 56 years. Very shortly, it's going to be 57. couple kids, 3 grandkids, and our first great grandson just turned about a year and a half, I guess now. Best-selling author. I've written 8 books. I have a couple more in the process right this minute. Independent publisher, over 40, almost 50 books for other people. Distinguished Toastmaster, writer, over 1,000 LinkedIn articles that original content articles I've written. And as I mentioned a moment ago, awareness and education is the primary focus of my presentations. And I was very fortunate last year to be number 2 and number 6 in the USA Global TV and Radio Network hosting arena for my show, The Wise Ones. Okay, 2 books we're going to talk about today. No Matter What You Can Do It, and Failure is Not an Option. No Matter What You Can Do It is based on Dr. Maxwell Maltz Psycho-Cybernetics he wrote about 1960, I think, and deals with the subconscious mind. I wrote another book based on the NASA early trips to the moon. I can't even think of the name of the series right now. Looking at the initial space venture where they said, we're going to put a man on the moon and get him home safely, and failure is not an option. So I fell in love with the space program a long time ago. So what are you really in control? Let's talk about that very briefly, because there's a lot of stuff to talk about today. What does that really mean to be in control? If I'm applying the term to our lives, it's a consistent self-awareness. What are we right now? What are we doing? Are we maintaining boundaries? Are we listening effectively? Are we communicating effectively? Are we managing our stress effectively? A lot of things just kind of go into there in the generic term of control as we apply it to our life. Are we planning properly, prioritizing? Are we taking the right actions? Are we proactive? Do our goals match our values? Are we actually going after the right thing at the right time? And in a life, we have several things that can become a problem. We talk week after week after week about healthy choices, our lifestyle. It turns out you do your lifestyle choices properly, you generally have a pretty decent, pretty good life, pretty good health. But if you start letting stress management or your sleep or other factors not happen in the way they should, these deficiencies in lifestyle choices or the poor choices can actually lead to a lot of health problems, and we've talked about them at length. Are we controlling our emotions, our part of our mental health, our emotional health, our social interaction, our response to others? This becomes super critical as we get older. You start turning 65, 75, and you'll start finding relationships as a major part of your health management and awareness system. So do we have full awareness? Do we know what needs to be controlled? Well, I don't think most of us do. I really don't. So how many of us really plan our day, our week, our year? Do you have a to-do list for today, for the week? Besides the year, do you know your anniversaries, your vacation? What else needs to be done? How often do our priorities get worked first? I mean, I have a priority list, and well, that's a simple. I can get that done in a minute. Boom, I go do, and something else comes up. I get a phone call. I get an email, and before I know it, there's 4 hours later. I still haven't done that one thing I thought about doing 4 hours ago. So priorities are there for a reason, and they should be worked first. But sometimes a priority, such as income tax, doesn't get worked to the last minute. We are what we are. Our expectations really good for us, because our expectations set so many things in our subconscious mind. And if your expectations are met, you're generally happy. If they're too far out there, you're not going to be a happy camper. So expectations really and truly dictate your life. The term better is the enemy of good enough. Are you trying to become a perfectionist? Is it really necessary that you do better than what is good enough for whatever action needs to happen right now? And many times we don't know what we don't know. That's so true in life, particularly our health. I mentioned Dr. Maxwell Maltz Psycho-Cybernetics. It's a book that I based my book No Matter What on. And Dr. Maltz was a cosmetic surgeon, and what he noticed was that he could fix, let's say a scar on a face on 20 people, and 19 out of 20 or more, beautiful. That's exactly what I want, doctor. And then you have another beautiful face, but they would see the scar even though it wasn't there. Their subconscious mind did not give up that scar and what he wanted to find out why. And so he did a very exhaustive study into the subconscious mind. And lots of things in that book. I really, truly, it's the very first book I ever read when I started transitioning over into being an entrepreneur. But the prime directive of your subconscious mind is to have no harm come to you. And that sometimes gets cross-wired, but the subconscious mind compares the past. Everything you do, see, 24/7 is locked into your subconscious mind. And if you're trying something new, I want to lose some weight, and I failed 20 times in the past, it's going to cause no harm. It's not going to let you lose weight because you failed in the past. It doesn't want you to fail again. So that subconscious mind can help you or hurt you. In this particular case, losing weight, it hurts you a lot. But now let's say you want to do something you haven't done before. I want to learn a new language. I've never tried it before. So your subconscious mind isn't there to hurt you or help you. It's just not there to make sure that you're not going to be harmed by it. And it lives only in the present state. It has no concept of future. Whatever it compares to the past is the past. So you're living right now in today. But there is a major fault in the subconscious mind. In my book, No Matter What You Can Do It, takes a lot of these issues with the subconscious mind and provides some basic understanding. But the major flaw in our subconscious mind is it doesn't understand the difference between real or imagined. So I may have failed 20 times losing weight, but if I visualize success of losing weight over and over and over again, and I add emotion to it, and I live these successes, at some point in time, my failure rate is here, my success rate is here. Once that success rate gets up to here, my subconscious mind can't hurt or help me because it doesn't know. But if my success rate is up here, it sees, well, I haven't failed, no big deal. I've succeeded many times. It's not going to hurt me. And it's going to actually help you achieve that success. Weight loss is a major one. We also have words we use. I want to lose some weight. Well, want is a word that talks to the conscious brain. Need talks to the conscious brain. You really need to use different words. I expect, I intend. These get more deeply ingrained into the subconscious mind. No, not negative. The subconscious mind has no concept of that negative aspect of what we're saying. I'm not going to have dessert. Well, that not doesn't connect. And what the brain hears is, I'm going to have dessert. And so you need to be aware of the negatives and positives in your life and be able to use them effectively. Okay. Vince Poscente, I saw him on stage several years ago. I fell in love with him. He's got a lot of books out there. I bought quite a few. I looked at him all the time on YouTube. He's got some really good stuff on Instagram and other places. But he talked about his experience in the world of being able to change your subconscious mind. Our subconscious mind controls 95% of everything we do. Well, he used the example of the ant and the elephant. You get an ant on the back of an elephant. The ant wants to go west. The elephant is going to go anywhere it wants to go. It can't talk to the ant. It doesn't even know what the ant's thinking. So how does that ant get the elephant to go in the direction you want to go? Well, the ant represents our conscious mind. The elephant represents our subconscious mind. And when you look at it from a molecular perspective, the number of the molecules that are encompassed in the subconscious mind is literally the size of an elephant compared to our conscious mind, the size of an ant. And so you have a major gorilla in the room that's in control, but you have to know how to talk to it. So ask yourself, what's required for better health as we age? Well, you start with the lifestyle factors, your weight management, your sleep, your stress management, your choice of foods, all sorts of things. These are our lifestyle factors, and they're required. You leave some of them out, exercise, and you may end up suffering down the road. May not be next month, may not be next year, but by the time you get to be 75, you're going to start seeing issues that I wish I had done something earlier. But let's start with, I want to be in control, but what about losing control? So what causes us to lose control? Generally speaking, overwhelming stress, some high level of anxiety. We have unresolved emotional issues, difficulty coping. When we start having those things, they disrupt our universe. everything that we're doing is put on hold because this thing is there. And one good way to look at it is if you go to sleep at night and you have this constant thought that's just bothering you, you can't go to sleep. We have these issues. Somebody loses a job, somebody has a health issue in the family, or your own health. All these things become this anxiety and stress. So we end up with a lot of low self-awareness because we're not thinking of the rest of ourselves, only of that one little issue. These life issues can be cumulative. It may cause us to go into some impulsive behavior. And that can be something as simple as overeating, indulging too much in ice cream, alcohol. Lots of things are out there that are impulsive behavior that because we're not in control, we've lost control, that we end up doing. So we don't have that support system that we need to keep us going. Yeah, things happen. You lose yourself for a day, fine, come back. But substance abuse and other things are not part of the solution. So if you have a good support system, whether it be your spouse, friends, other family members, there are many, many ways of going. And yeah, their stress happens all the time. Let it happen. Don't hang on to it. So what keeps you in control? Well, generally speaking, not everybody is the same. So what works for me will not work for you, or it may. But if I have obtainable, clean, concise goals, I know exactly what I want, that helps. If I have some level of organization, I'm going to bed at this time, I'm getting up at this time, I'm having breakfast, I'm having lunch, I'm doing this. I have a schedule. I have priorities. I have a time management system that allows me to do what I need to do. I have the skills that I need to have to solve that kind of problem. Or I'm going and training to get those skills. A resilience. How many times do you get back up when you fall down? But it's all about controlling our emotions, making these healthy choices in life. And this is part of that overall being able to get into control, and then maintaining it is difficult but not unattainable. But what's important? Well, we talked about lifestyle choices, screenings, checkups. If you don't know where you are, how do you know where you're going? So if you haven't had an annual physical in 5 years, is there a problem there you don't know about that you should be concentrating on? Vaccinations, balanced nutrition, exercise. A lot of these are part of that lifestyle choices. Sunshine, I'm seeing, is becoming more and more and more of a healthy choice, not an abuse of sunshine, but utilizing sunshine, both the UV and the IR range, in order to be able to improve your health. Seeing a lot more stuff on circadian rhythm, awareness. Are you doing things at the right time? Weight management, stress management, even being able to breathe more effectively. Stopping smoking, moderation, or total elimination of alcohol. All of these things are important when you start looking at your health. So how do you achieve control? Well, probably one of the easiest ways to start is with a structure, your schedule. What are you doing today? Where are you going? How are you going to get there? Is that plan adequate? Are the actions you're taking really the ones you need to take? So these are all things that need to be looked at objectively. And then you have to know where you're coming from and where you're going. So the awareness, your current health status, what has to change? If all I want to do is change my weight or my inches around my gut, that's my focus. What am I doing that's going to make that happen? So those are the things that are part of that control mechanism. But what happens when we try to become perfect? Never happens. We have tendencies to procrastinate. It's normal. Maybe you put your timer on your phone for 5 minutes, you take a nap, you go out, you walk around, you just get away from the computer. Whatever it is, set a time so that when that thing rings and goes off, okay, I don't have to procrastinate for a half hour. 5 minutes is enough. Go back to whatever you're doing. Having an accountability partner is super critical. When you're accountable to someone else, it really does make a difference. Appreciating what you have, and I've seen so much of this you start looking at particularly your subconscious mind, and psychocybernetics brings it up. You concentrate on what you don't have, not on what you have or what you can have. So if something is there, I want to have this new car, or just pick something, and I think to myself, I don't have the money for that. I can never afford that. I'm on that negative thinking downhill that doesn't help me. But if I think, well, how much do I need for that? Why do I need that? And I start looking at how can I get what I need? You start appreciating what do you have, and that appreciation, that gratitude actually helps the brain sort things out and get you more adaptable for making that change. Having a tailored social network, contributing and helping others. We're out there, and I do a lot of networking. And one of the things I try to do is, what can I do to help you? If you can just tell somebody something, send them something by email, give them something. Is your network tailored? I mean, if I am a writer and author and I'm dealing with professional athletes, that's probably not the right social network unless I'm an author of some kind of exercise program for professional athletes. So make sure your social world mirrors what you're trying to get out of your plans, your expectations. There's a term called 70% effort, and that's the opposite of a perfectionism. In other words, better is the enemy of good enough. If I aim for 70% of whatever I need, maybe that is really all I really need. I don't need the absolute 100%. I don't need to be doing too much because it takes away my time and my energy, my focus. I can look at changing the primary indicators of my success. In other words, if I want to lose weight, I failed at that consistently. Okay, that's fine. It's there in my subconscious mind. It's not going anywhere. I can visualize it away. But maybe my plan is I'm not going to step on the scale. All I'm going to do is use a measurement and find out how many inches I have. So if today I'm at this one and a month from now I've lost 2 inches, my subconscious mind sees that success. It's been focused on something I've never looked at before, inches lost rather than pounds lost. And that may be a way of overcoming a particular obstacle because you're focusing on a different indicator of success. You still have the same success, but it's measured differently. If I add emotion to visualization, and this is something that Vince Vicente talked about a lot in his ability to become literally almost an Olympic champion in 4 years. He talked about his failure in one, talked about his history in between, and then when the Olympics came to Canada, just a super interesting way of looking at how did he go about preparing himself to be an Olympic athlete. And a lot of it was standing there with the gold medal on, with the music playing, with everything going on that he was just imagining he was the #1 athlete in the world. But I tell people, imagine you're on a bicycle. Most people have been on a bicycle. Imagine riding a bicycle barefoot. Okay, that kind of gets a little queasy. Imagine the emotion that if you're riding a bicycle and you push too far and all of a sudden your foot, your toe hits the concrete. That is something even right now kind of gives me a chill down my back. You need some level of emotion that attaches to your visualization, that when you're thinking about it, these become big deals. He used orange dots or something that he would put on his car, his mirror in his bathroom, and at work. Every time he saw one, he would just automatically go into the emotional visualization mode of feeling and sensing that emotion. So do we recognize the stressors and adjust? I talk about all the time. There's a stressor out there. Yeah, it's there. But don't reach out and grab it. And certainly don't let go of it. Let it go. Lots of things. Hydration. We never really think about, are we drinking enough water? Our pH. Most of us have no idea in the world what our pH is, but it controls a lot of our health. Our consistency. Are we having the right habits, or are we consistently doing something bad? But we focus a lot on physical health. But what about our emotional and mental health? Those are just as critical. I wrote a book last year. Failure is not an option. I wrote a book last year. Failure is not an option. I based it on the original NASA space mission of putting a man on the moon and bringing him back home safely. And so if I'm looking at who are you really in control, maybe the better question is, how do I change? And how do I make that change permanent? I don't want to make a big change, but I want to make incremental changes that I can make be permanent and become part of my normal habit. Lots of literature out there on how do you attain success, how do you change. And my book, the first half of it, I cover the basic methods. Is something that we've all seen. But sometimes as we're living, I don't have enough money for this. I don't have the skills for that. I don't have whatever it may happen to be. We start developing what's called limiting beliefs, and they get into our subconscious mind, and they become a factor in us not doing something or our inability to overcome something. So what are you going to change? Is it a limiting belief? And there are ways of changing them. It's not something that's stuck there forever. But my book does cover that. So let's just talk about some of those things in the world. And we're talking about the methodology involved. There are things called affirmations. But if you're doing an affirmation, the affirmation is for your subconscious mind. It has to be positive, it has to be present tense, and it has to be personal. I can't put something, I am going to do something in the future. I am not going to do that. That doesn't connect to the subconscious mind. And that's where you want that affirmation at. And if you want to enhance that affirmation on steroids, add the phrase, no matter what. So I am positive, personal, and present tense. I would add the phrase, I am healthy today. That's a positive affirmation. I am healthy today, no matter what, becomes a much stronger import into the brain. Expectations, they determine our level of satisfaction or happiness with life, but they also set the expectation for everything we're doing. If our expectations are up here and we never reach them, we're not happy campers. We need to have expectations at a level that we can be attained, but also challenged a little bit so that when we attain it, we can actually have satisfaction, happiness. Negativity purge. We have so many things in our life that are negative. You talk about the typical 16, 18-year-old, by the time that they're that old, they've heard the term no 50,000 times or more. We know that news is typically negative. We know some people are typically negative. Can you purge that negativity out? Can you get rid of this thing for a day, for 2 hours, whatever? A lot of negativity out there. How can you replace that with a positive reinforcement? Changing you is different than changing others. You listen to Bill O'Reilly, he says, people believe what they want to believe. You're not going to change them. It doesn't matter whether that belief is right or wrong. You're not going to change them because you're not trying to change somebody else. Major problem with marriage, I think. You go in with a certain expectation. I can change that down the road. You're not changing other people. You need to change you. Caesar, Julius, he talks about everybody thinks about changing the world, but nobody thinks about changing themselves. And so this has been around for forever and ever and ever. So look at your change to you, not to somebody else. A lot of change can be derived through stress management techniques, and there are many of them out there, more than most people can even think about doing. Use AI, query it. You can do a Google search for positive images, stories, attitudes, thinking, all sorts of things. Just use the term positive and then put another one in. And maybe you can look at images, stories. There are so many things out there. But between the stress management, artificial intelligence, how can I improve myself? Why should I improve myself? All this thing, we have so many tools and the technology out there. It just makes things so much better. There's something I came across recently, Jose Silva in his alpha state. Talks about our brain waves and being able to use them. We sometimes fall asleep with the TV on, but our subconscious mind is 24/7, never stops paying attention. So the TV set is on all night long. You have the light that's disrupting. You have the sound that can be disrupting. Everything is going in. Maybe if you use your brain waves in a different manner to learn something new, to reinforce something more positive. And Jose Silva has a very, very good method of doing it. Go to YouTube and look him up. I plan on doing a series on him here in the not too distant future, so it's something that I'm still studying. I love emotional freedom techniques. That's the tapping back and forth, and you have a certain mantra you go through. And there's reasons why it works, because you're tapping into certain pressure points in the body, and they align with the let me call it There's a word for it. I can't think of it right this second. But you actually, it's as if you're doing electroshock or the needles. I find it to be fascinating. People have done nothing but EFT and lost 100 pounds of weight. I use it a lot. Used to use it a lot when I was crossing time zones. You cross 10 or 12 time zones in a day, and you're in a different world. I use it if I want to get a lot of stuff done in a day. There are certain ways that you can use it to stop doing something, certain ways you can use it to start doing something. Lots of ways of using emotional freedom techniques. Go to YouTube, look at it, do several of them, and actually do the tapping and the talking at the same time. Sometimes we get in what's called a comfort zone trap. We just can't get out no matter what we do. Don't want to do it. No, it just, you get in that trap and the world becomes too nice for you. So many laws out there. We talk about law of attraction. If you saw The Secret, the TV show way back when. But there's a lot of different laws out there, and they have some level of ability to help us either change, maintain control, improve our life. Focusing on gratitude as opposed to focusing on scarcity. I talk about, I don't have enough money. Well, how can I find more money? So, we put ourselves into a receiving mode rather than a victim mode. Does our belief value system actually align? Are we believing what we really want to believe, and is everything there? How is our self-image? If your self-image and your self-esteem is low, chances of you making a change are going to be very remote. There's so much related in that subconscious mind to that self-esteem, that self-image, that if our self-image is way down in the pits, it's going to be extremely difficult to get incrementally back up to where it has a chance. So that's an area that a lot of professionals focus on because it's an area you see a lot of change quickly. I mentioned a second ago, are you ready to receive? Are you focusing on why and not what? That's a big one, because when you're trying to solve that problem of why, that becomes more intricate instead of just what? What? I need more money. Well, why do you need more money? Why do you need to lose weight? Why? You start getting into that analytical range of the brain that now forces it to start doing something it doesn't normally do. You have many laws. You have laws of success, forgiveness, law of thinking, law of receiving, law of non-resistance, law of increase, law of supply, and one of my favorite, cause and effect, because that's an area that I'm in a lot. But go look them up. They're out there and they're super available. You find a lot of stuff on YouTube talking about law, whatever you want, and listen to some professional mentors that can help you. So when I look at change, I look at control, I look at success, they all take time. It's not something that you're going to, next week it's going to be a solution. You hear the phrase, do, rinse, repeat. Well, you do it, rinse it, boom, and you start doing it again. It's that incremental change, that your habit that you're developing. And so you get that incremental change, it becomes easier to make the next one, the next one, and the next one. If you start trying to take too large a jump, it's not easy. And so you can't break that habit. But if you're taking an incremental jump, maybe all I want to lose is 1/4 of an inch over the next month. Well, that's almost nothing to measure, but it's measurable. If I wanted to lose 2 pounds, yeah, that's measurable, but it may not necessarily be as easy to lose that 2 pounds. Use your subconscious mind to help you, not hinder you. So you got to find out what is in your past that you've really and truly allowed to control what you're doing. Your subconscious mind can be your worst enemy, but it can also be the best friend you've ever had. It just depends on how you formulate what you want and how you use it. So what are the key things I need to do for my physical, mental, and emotional health? Well, most of it's pretty simple. Physical, balance in so many different things. The quality of our sleep, the choices we make, and this is our diet, this is everything that we're doing, and the actions we take. And if you're doing those, chances are a lot of the other activities in our lives, our mental and emotional, are also going to be there because they're all based on that. Our mental health, again, we're looking at happiness. What's my expectation? If my expectation is down here and I can attain it, well, I'm happy. But if my expectations are too high, we may never be there. My resilience, how well can I cope with things? What is my purpose? What is my function? If I know those and I know that I'm meeting them, then from a mental health perspective, I'm doing well. Now, you can look at depression and anxiety. Many times they're caused by a nutritional, usually a B vitamin of some sort deficiency. So sometimes these can be a nutritional deal, but if I'm balanced in my physical aspect of my health with the right nutrients, then those go away. My emotional end of things, my self-image, my relationships, my self-care, all these things are intertwined and overlapping. So you're trying to deal with one, you're really dealing with many. Whoops, what happened there? There we go. Let's try that one. Retirement for most of us, as you get older, is right around the corner. Some of us have the ability to retire early, not normal. But it's a proactive journey. That journey has to involve your physical, emotional, and your mental health. But it also involves our spiritual growth, our financial standings, our social interactions. It's that journey to retirement involves a lot of different aspects, and each one of those have some level or some indicator of success. What they are for your financial world, your social world, your spiritual, they're all going to be a little bit different. But whatever they are, I just picked a couple out here from the health perspective. C-reactive protein is a big one. Homocysteine, many of them out there that can be measured. But when I'm looking at the end of things, how content am I? How happy am I? Am I being fulfilled? Is my level of participation something that keeps me happy? Mentors, so many of them out there. Google them. They're on Amazon, YouTube, social media. Nowadays, it's so easy to find a mentor and just have personal training by YouTube or their newsletters through social media. Arnold Schwarzenegger, I didn't think he was such a big deal in the daily self-improvement. I signed up for something. I'm getting some really wonderful articles from him daily on things that, whoa, that's interesting. And I'm learning some health issues from him that he's learned as being a professional bodybuilder for years. Continuous learning. Learn what we don't know. Are we controlling our spending? That's something that's super critical late in life. Is our health versus wealth mentality in the right balance? Am I thinking positively enough so that I don't end up in what they call this retirement depression? I want to retire, I'm there, and then all of a sudden, do I have enough money? And other things become that worry issue. So a lot of thinking involves this retirement aspect. Fraud protection. That's something that can destroy you almost overnight. Are you prepared? Do you know? There's so many things out there. Email, something pops up and looks real, but you look at the sender, well, I don't recognize that. If you have, don't ever click on anything on an email. Don't answer a phone solicitation. Call whoever you need to call. Look online and get that. So, but always keep in mind that you're continually updating your retirement because it's going to change because of inflation and so many other factors. Select your caregivers wisely. If somebody's going to be taking care of you later in life, who are they? Do they know what they're doing? Go ahead and plan for the worst case scenario. And be surprised when it doesn't happen. You have a plan just in case it does. I don't think any of us had a plan for a pandemic. It happened. And many of us didn't survive. But start looking at what is out there that you can do. Exercise. Talking about location for real estate. Exercise is probably the number one key component for health. And it doesn't have to be out there running a marathon or lifting weights. There's a lot of exercise that can be done. But we're looking at our mental attitude when we were younger and being able to employ it today wisely. Because a lot of times our brain gets to about 24, 25 years of age. That's it. That's as far as it grows. But we still think at 65, 75 years of age as if we're a 25-year-old and we can't do the things we used to do. We really got to tamper things down a bit. Are we recession-proof, accident-proof, weather-proof, floods, all sorts of things? Control is elusive. It's easier to lose, harder to find, harder to maintain. But if you start simplifying things in your life, I'm finding this now as I'm getting older, I don't need what I used to have. Can I declutter some things? And I know my wife's listening to this and she's got a comment on it. But what's important to keep? What's important to do? What's important to maintain? Stop overthinking. Stop worrying. Reframe what you have into a more positive environment for your brain. Treat yourself with kindness, with understanding, with gratitude. So live life and enjoy it. Every day is a wonderful day here in paradise. So with that thought, I'm going to leave you until next week. Have fun, enjoy, and more power to you. Bye now.
USA Global TV and Radio proudly presents Tracy Cram Perkins, a dementia caregiving survivor teaching how to balance care with peace of mind. #1 resource for dementia caregivers. It's the book Dementia Home Care: How to Prepare Before, During, and After. Over 17,000 copies sold of this must-have guide. And now a testimonial from Tracy Smith.
If I was to describe this book to someone who is going through a similar situation, I would underscore how important it is to have some sort of a tool or a guidebook to help you through certain stages. And there's so many, it's such an unknown topic to the average person. And to have this as a reference is essential. It's going to help you get through it personally, as well as help your loved one manage.
To learn more, go to tracycramperkins.com. Tracy Cram Perkins is an award-winning author. She's also the host of Dementia Home Care television show. Watch it here on USA Global TV and Radio. Meet Red O'Laughlin, TV show host, presenter, and author.
Howdy y'all, Red O'Laughlin here. I'm a TV host on the USA Global TV and Radio Network.
Red has 3 weekly shows every Thursday.
I've been a TV host now with USA Global probably maybe just a little over 3 years. Probably, I know for sure, 250, 300 shows.
Join Red on the Corner Bookstore.
The Corner Bookstore is one where we talk to authors, publicists, publishers, editors, cover designers, anybody associated with the writing and authoring book production business. You have somebody in that area, I can help you with regard to getting your book done, getting it published, working with you on a cover. A lot of things I can help people with, and I have probably maybe published over 40 books for people so far.
Join Red on The Wise Ones.
On the Wise Ones, I'm looking for entrepreneurs, business owners, people who have wisdom, lessons learned over time that they can share with others. So please go to usaglobaltv.com, sign up, and join me there.
Book your session on usaglobaltv.com. Join Red on Talking Heads.
On Talking Heads, I take my experience. I fell in love with chemistry many years ago, got a degree in it, got an invitation to Vietnam, never practiced chemistry per se, but I did get a chance when my wife was going through chemo to get back into the chemical end of things. I started looking for cause and effect relationships. I had been working at a company doing cause and effect analysis on failures in the field on various products that we made. So I said, why not look at the cellular structure in the body? The chemicals are chemicals, they do certain things. So I take my knowledge of chemistry and research, I write about it, I speak about it. I have over 1,000 original content articles on LinkedIn, most of them dealing with some aspect of health or wellness. I speak on that topic quite often, and the Talking Head show is one that I concentrate my knowledge of health and wellness on in order to help people.
Red is a distinguished Toastmaster.
As a distinguished Toastmaster, I help people get their speeches developed. The presentation is something that I critique all the time with Toastmasters. It's one of those skills that I have. I can easily help you on that one. So from the position of writing, publishing, book coach, speaking, and being a keynote speaker at an event or virtually, depending on how things work out. But those are the things that I can help people with, and I have 3 shows every week here on the USA Global TV and Network, and please join me when you can. Appreciate it. Bye now.
Here are some of the books that Red has written and published. Contact Red at red.olaughlin.com.
viewers and listeners of USA Global TV and Radio for joining us today. We're honoured to have your time and attention as part of our global community. At USA Global TV and Radio, we believe in the power of authentic conversations, meaningful connections, and creating a world of possibilities together. Want to be part of something bigger? Join our team of elevated listeners at usaglobaltv.com, a space where your voice matters and your ability to listen transforms relationships. Stay connected with us across all our platforms for thought-provoking discussions, expert insights, and empowering stories. Subscribe to our channels at youtube.com/c/USAGlobalTV. Follow us on social media and explore the endless opportunities we're creating for growth, learning, and inspiration. Together, we're not just broadcasting, we're building bridges and changing lives one conversation at a time. For inquiries, contact us at info@usaglobaltv.com. Music by Johnny Dyes. Produced by Executive Producer and Director Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck. Voiceover by Mike Porter. Creative Direction by Paul Garcia. All rights reserved. Copyright 2025. Visit usaglobaltv.com to view our full terms and conditions.